What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today I'm reviewing a sneaker that a lot of you guys have requested, and that's the Nike AF1 Low React. The AF1 Low is one of the most iconic and popular sneakers of all time, so it makes sense that eventually Nike would create an updated version of the sneaker that is apparently more comfortable. This React silhouette has been out for a couple months by this point, but Nike did just release the triple white version. And because the triple white version of the AF1 Lows are the most popular, I felt like it would be fitting to review the triple white version of the AF1 Low Reacts. This shoe costs $120 retail, and I've also left an affiliate link in the top of the description if you'd like to grab a pair from Nike.com. I, like most people, have always been a fan of the AF1 Lows, and so when a new version comes out that's apparently even more comfortable, I definitely wanted to check it out, and I feel like this triple white colorway is perfect for summer, so it was the perfect time to grab a pair. Although this shoe is technically an Air Force 1 Low, there are some pretty major changes that make the sneaker pretty unique from the original AF1 Lows. So why don't we jump right into the review and find out what those changes are. Starting off in the toe box of the shoe, you've got what I would assume is white synthetic leather, and of course you've got your signature Air Force 1 perforations in the toe. The leather itself does feel pretty cheap, and it's also pretty plasticky, but the upside of that is that it probably will last you a very long time. As you move up on the shoe, you get to some more of that synthetic white leather, and it's got a very sort of wavy, organic cut to it, which is actually much different from the original Air Force 1s. I'm not sure exactly why they made this cut so much more wavy than a standard pair of Air Force 1s, but it was probably just to differentiate it. I guess this also isn't a standard pair of Air Force 1s, but it's pretty similar. Weaving through these eyelets, you've got these flat white laces, and then just beneath the laces, you've got this white mesh tongue with the Nike Air branding on a tag at the top. Moving back towards the midfoot of the sneaker, you've got some more of that white mesh material, except unlike the tongue, it's very stiff and it feels like it's got some sort of leather or plastic backing to it, so it probably doesn't breathe. This is one of the aesthetic details that I just don't like about the shoe. I wish they had just stuck with the regular leather. Even if it's that synthetic white leather, it still looks better in my opinion. Another detail on the side of the shoe that I'm sure you've already noticed by this point is this oversized outline of a Nike swoosh. I get that they're trying to make this shoe look more modern, but I kind of just wish they had gone with the standard Nike swoosh. It just looks so much cleaner. That's just my own personal preference though. I don't know, you guys could love it. Continuing even farther back in the shoe, you get to some more of that synthetic white leather. On the medial side of the shoe, you've got the DMSX logo or DIM6 logo. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's apparently for a team at Nike that designed some of their more modern stuff. Not 100% sure about that though. Then moving around to the heel of the shoe, you've got more of that synthetic leather paneling with a much more organic shape than the standard Air Force 1s. And then rounding off the heel, you've got the Nike Air branding embroidered into the top. Moving inside the sneaker, you've got this white mesh sock liner, which is pretty well padded and actually feels exactly like a standard pair of Air Force 1 Lows. The insole, however, is where the shoe gets interesting. What you might not know about this pair of Air Force 1 Lows, and what I didn't expect, is that the React is actually part of a drop-in insole that's insanely thick. The insole is pretty much the entire thickness of the midsole, hence the name drop-in midsole, and the only thing between the bottom of this midsole and the ground is this rubber outsole. The best part about this insole, though, is that a majority of the insole is made up of Nike React foam, which is incredibly soft underfoot. As you can see, you've got that signature React pattern and texture all around the midsole itself. On the top of the drop-in midsole, you've got this fabric liner, which keeps your foot from touching the React itself, but as you can see, there's this really interesting sort of React-themed texture all over it. I hate to admit it, but the texture actually reminds me of wearing a pair of Crocs. It feels like your foot is getting a massage all the time. It's definitely a weird feeling at first, and it might not be for everyone, but for me, I thought it was kind of nice. The only thing that sucks about this detail is that it's not like you can remove it if you don't like it, because it's part of this drop-in midsole, and if you take out the midsole, you can't wear the shoe. So if you don't think you'll like this texture underneath your foot, then maybe it's not the right shoe for you. The one other detail about this drop-in midsole that I actually really liked was this air unit in the heel. It's very bouncy underfoot, and it's actually a lot more bouncy than a standard pair of Air Force 1s because it's a completely different kind of air unit. Because of this air unit, the heel is noticeably more cushioned than any other part of the shoe, and I've got to be honest, it feels great. And like I said before, I actually really like this massaging texture underneath my foot. It feels great, and it's much more comfortable than a standard pair of Air Force 1s. As for sizing and fit, the Air Force 1 Low React does seem to fit true to size. In fact, it fits very similarly to a standard pair of Air Force 1 Lows, but maybe a tad bit more snug. But as I always suggest, if you have the chance to try this shoe on first before you buy it, make sure to do that to make sure you're grabbing the right size for you. And then moving down on the sneaker, you get to this white rubber outsole that encases the React insole. On the lateral side, you've got the Air branding embossed out of the midsole, and then around the Air branding, you've actually got this TPU line or panel that replaces the standard rubber line, and on the frontmost part, it actually says Nike React. I'm not sure why they had to add this piece of gray plastic, it just is what it is, but I could have done without it. And then finally, moving to the bottom of the shoe, you've got pretty much your standard Air Force 1 outsole, except on the toe and on the heel, in place of the stars, you've actually got this very small React texture. The Air Force 1 Low React is definitely an interesting upgrade over the standard AF1 Lows. Visually, I prefer the original all day. This doesn't seem to have that same sort of classic elegance that the original had, but it's still a nice looking pair of shoes. Like I said, I could have done without the mesh and the oversized Nike swoosh, and also actually this plastic panel on the heel, but other than that, it looks fine. Comfort-wise though, the shoe feels incredible. It's much more comfortable than a standard pair of Air Force 1s, but maybe not as comfortable as something like an Epic React 2. Once again, if you would like to grab a pair of these for yourself, I've left a link to Nike in the top of the description, but now I would love to know your thoughts on the Nike Air Force 1 Low React and whether you'd ever grab a pair for yourself, so let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.